Haven't opened this yet, as you can see. Kind of wanted to capture some first impressions on camera, as we like to do with unboxings. I think unboxings are still pretty cool, don't you? Alright, so here it is. Bigger box than before with the iPhone 4S. Obviously because it's taller. In fact, the amount of tallness here is probably in proportion to how much taller the screen is on the iPhone 5, about 0.5 inches. Alright, so let's take the razor blade, but be gentle here. iPhone 5, and technically this is the 6th iPhone, right? Because there was the original iPhone, then the 3G, 3GS, 4, 4S. This is the 6th iPhone, but they're calling it the iPhone 5 because there wasn't an iPhone 5 before it. Okay, let's take a look. So, a lot of the reviews so far on the internet have been of the black one, and this is the white one, and it's different. It doesn't have the sort of darkened metal texture. So let me take this out of the box here. Oh my goodness. It is extremely light. It's not as thin as I thought it was going to be. Let's carefully remove these things. It feels hollow. It truly feels hollow inside. And I really want to take a close look at this metal here because I was hoping that it would deter fingerprints, and I'm going to try to fingerprint it up, and it's resisting it very, very well. This is a beautiful, beautiful device. Look at how the edges kind of shine. Very nice. I can't believe there's an iPhone in here, and I really mean that. This thing is so incredibly light. It's ridiculous. And let's see if my thumb can reach the upper corner of the screen. Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen is with one-handed usability, you're going to hold this a little higher up versus the iPhone 4S where you're kind of at the bottom near the home button and you could go up there. With the iPhone 5, you're going to kind of shimmy up a little bit just because you're going to want to weight it evenly in your hand. Anyhow, let's put that aside. I want to take a look at these ear pods. Apple kind of doing something different, sort of decommoditizing the headphones. I mean, for years and years and years, everyone got the exact same headphones with every phone, and Apple said, wait a minute, maybe we can do something better. So I wonder how these are going to fit in my ear, because they look really weird. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Nice carrying case, though, because these are kind of chunky and clunky. Let's take a look at the Thunderbolt wire, and I want to compare it to micro USB for a sec. Okay, so here we are. Very small. It's a lot smaller than it actually looks in pictures, and hopefully we can get in focus. It's so small that the camera's having trouble focusing on it. Let's look at it next to micro USB. It's literally the same width. And the cool thing about Thunderbolt or Lightning, you know, all these, you know, storm names, is that you can insert this either way, and that's a big deal because with micro USB, you got to get it in the right way, and you always have to look at the phone, or at least I do, unless you have some sort of texture on here to tell you which way is the top. So that's nice. And just for good measure, I kind of want to plug it in just out of curiosity here. That snaps in nicely, and it turns on when you plug it in. What do you know? So it's turning on. It's going to ask me to activate it for the first time. Let's just compare it next to the iPhone 4S. And what they've done here is they've essentially removed the back panel. The 5 has no back panel. And they've thinned up the front panel. As you can see, it's about half or even a third or a quarter of the thickness of that front piece of glass. I'm thrilled that there aren't two pieces of glass on this because I dropped my 4S. My wife dropped her iPhone, and we keep cracking the backs. And, you know, you can get a nice thick case, but I don't really like to use a case. I don't want to have to worry about the back getting cracked. So anyway, we're going to set this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's talk about some early first impressions. I've been using this for about 30 minutes. I've got all of my data restored. I've done a little bit of comparison with the 4S. I just want to point out a few things. Something kind of unfortunate, actually, and look out if you're getting the iPhone 5 for blemishes on the device because you should take it back. If you look very closely right here, there's a little tiny nick taken out of this shiny sort of polished edge. Not that big of a deal, but I just opened this and it should be perfect. This is definitely an expensive phone. So let's talk about the screen. Apple says this is the best screen they've ever made and that it's better than the iPhone 4S. Is it? Let me show you. So I'm going to bring over the iPhone 4S over here, and I want you to look at the Photos icon here, okay? Look at the color of the Photos icon, and then look at it on the 5. I'd say it's probably 25% higher in color saturation, which is nice. It's very subtle, and you're probably not going to notice just using the iPhone 5 day to day, but if you kind of compare the iPhone 4S with the iPhone 5 side by side, there's no doubt. I mean, look at the blue in the Facebook icon. It's a lot more blue. Over here, it kind of looks like, in comparison, like a undersaturated blue. Anyway, we're going to do more comparisons later. Something interesting that I've seen is that I restored from a backup, and it installed literally 10 apps at one time, whereas on the iPhone 4S it only installs 2 apps at the most at one time, so maybe taking advantage of that A6 chip. So this phone is fast. I'm going to take you on a little tour of web browsing here and just kind of give you an idea of how fast this phone is. Things just, I mean, the progress bar just disappears so quickly. Let's go to the full version of Pocket now, which obviously is large and in charge, which lots of images, lots of code. Let's watch the progress bar up top. Done. It's insanely fast. Let's move around on the page. It's nice to have that extra vertical space. In fact, just as a quick comparison, we're going to do the same thing here on the iPhone 4S. Let me just bring up Pocket now real quick. Kind of do a little bit of a speed test here. So the advantage to the taller screen, you can see literally it's half an inch. It's not that much. Let's look at a page at the all the way zoomed out view. So we can see down to this story, and the headline of this story. Over here on the iPhone 4S, we see down to this story and just the headline and first sentence of the next story. So you really get to see more on the screen at one time, which is fantastic. Let's pinch to zoom, see how long it takes to clear up. It clears up almost instantly. Like, did you see that? I couldn't even count how long that took to clear up. Versus on the iPhone 4S, if we do the exact same thing, that's also pretty fast, and there's an annoying ad getting in the way. But it just seems a lot faster on the iPhone 5. So let's move around on the page, see what it's like. Let's go into landscape, get that full screen web browsing performance. Web pages look fantastic on this thing. It's just beautiful. Let's go into a story. Today is iPhone Day. That's very relevant, isn't it? Something else I should mention, first impressions, the home button is stiffer. And I don't really like it that way because it makes it slightly more difficult to double tap, but really it's not that big of a deal. It probably means that Apple has kind of firmed up the mechanism because a lot of people with the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 4 have had problems with the home button kind of breaking over time. Some other things I want to look at here, just look around the device. We've got these sort of drilled holes, and this seems to be a very common theme in smartphone design. We're seeing it on HTC phones, we're seeing it on Samsung phones. It seems that these smartphone companies, these electronic companies, are getting excited by the idea of drilling lots of little holes, and it's a nice touch. Now, going over to the back, I put this more so to the test, and I can say that this does not pick up fingerprints that well. The Apple logo, yeah, because you get that shiny metal-ness, but you don't really get fingerprints picking up on the back, which is a really nice touch. Now up here at the top we've got the white strip, and if you get the white unit, you also get these white bars along the side, which look really nice, by the way. And as mentioned, if you get the black version, this silver actually becomes kind of like a gunmetal tinted black. And some people are complaining already that the black is wearing off on these edges. So you might want to watch out for that. Maybe Apple will refine the design. Something I can tell you about these edges is that they do actually pick up fingerprints. And I imagine that over time, the sheen of them will wear off a bit as you handle this thing more and more. Something I did do is I trimmed my micro SIM to the nano SIM size, and I made a video about it. So if you are running a prepaid plan or you're buying this unlocked and you already have a SIM card, you don't want to use the one that came with it, which is very tiny, you can just cut it just like you might have cut your SIM card down to a micro SIM as phones started to ship with that smaller technology. Let's launch the camera. I'm really curious about that because that's something that always needs to be fast. Let's just compare these two devices real quick. Okay, iPhone 5 significantly faster in launching the camera. That's always great to see. Anyway, we're going to have so much more on this. If you want the best iPhone 5 coverage, keep it to pocketnow.com. We are going to cover this from every single angle. We're extremely curious about this device, how it compares to everything out there, how it works in day-to-day testing, how battery life is, and a lot more. Keep it to pocketnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and of course, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you got an iPhone 5, let us know what you think about it, your first impressions, in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more soon.